If you're interested to get free crypto that could make you some money, then do watch this video because we'll be talking about the Arbitrum airdrop in this video. First, what's Arbitrum? Arbitrum is a layer 2 scaling solution that is trying to make Ethereum more efficient. Who's building Arbitrum? Well, there's a great team of people led by Steven. He is somebody who's worked at Princeton. He has background in cryptography. So there's a great team that's really putting this project together. In addition to that, they have a great lineup of investors. Right? If you look at the names here, all the big names of VCs are right here because they believe in this project. I keep emphasizing on this fact that you should always see who the investors are, because average retail investors like you and me might not have that many resources, but all these investors do. They will do due diligence before they put their hard-earned money into it, and hence it is good to have great names as investors. So what are we going to talk about in today's video? Well, we'll look at what is great, right? We'll analyze Arbitrum to see what is great, what's a good sign, what are the cons, and then how can you get an airdrop. We'll try and do everything so that you are prepared to get that airdrop if and when that happens. So first, let's look at this. Right now, Arbitrum is solving a real problem that is aligned with Ethereum's goals, and that's what is great about it. Right? What is Ethereum's problems? Well, the problems are Ethereum has low speeds and high cost. This is a major concern for Ethereum. Its network capacity is almost operating at 98% from over 2 years. So scaling solutions are absolutely necessary, and Ethereum itself believes that. In their blog, they clearly talk about their goals, which are very well aligned with what Arbitrum is trying to do. Hence, this is something that is great for me. In addition to that, Arbitrum has developed something called the Arbitrum Virtual Machine, which is pretty much compatible with the Ethereum Virtual Machine. So they have powerful developer tools that developers can easily start using to get started on building apps on Arbitrum. And they have growing ecosystem, more than 900 million in total value locked. And if you go down to their ecosystem, you can see very familiar names like OneInch, Aave, etc., Uniswap, etc. on this particular website. You'll see all the big names here, which shows the interest, the skin in the game that all these big protocols have put into place. So that's a big sign. If you go to DeFi Llama, you'll see that more than 900 million is the total value locked despite the market being down. What else is great? Well, stable usage metrics. They've had more than 400,000 transactions per day. That's insane, right? They've had more than 400,000 transactions and growing. So that's a great sign. In addition to that, if you go down to L2Beat.com, you'll see that Arbitrum has close to 52% market share. The nearest competitor, Optimism, which we spoke about in an earlier video, they have about 30%. So more than half the market is controlled by Arbitrum, and that is great news. What else is good? Well, institutional investors, right? That's a good sign. They have several institutional investors. We saw that huge list. They raised more than 120 million to fix this Ethereum shortcoming. There are some great investors like Polygon Capital, Ribbit Capital, etc. So this is a great sign. We know that this means that they're well capitalized to execute this project and they're in for the long run. It's low cost. We can go down to l2fees.info and you'll see that Arbitrum has such a low cost of transaction, right? Like $0.01, $0.005. So extremely low cost in comparison to all other projects. So this is a win because more apps will adopt to this because lower the transaction cost, lower the barrier of entry and more usage, more adoption, and so on. The largest market share, we saw that Arbitrum has more than 52% market share. So there's nothing like it. That's the most important factor, and the great founder. Right, we saw that. Now, if you go here, we can see the founder who happens to have a great background. He holds a PhD from Princeton University. He's worked at the intersection of cryptography and cryptocurrencies. He's a co-author of Bitcoin and Cryptography Technologies, which is a leading textbook on cryptocurrency. So your project is in very safe hands. Right? This is extremely important. Team, especially in cryptos where most of the teams are anonymous, it's very scary. Right? I'm very concerned about investing in projects that have anonymous founders, except of course Bitcoin. But everything else, I'm very concerned. And here you have a team. You know what they've, you know their background. You know that they've done some great stuff. So all that is good. Now there must be some cons, right? It cannot be that everything is nice. Well, there are a few cons. First one is there is a 1 week expensive withdrawal wait period. This does not really affect you, but it does affect the apps, and hence they might make a choice between optimistic roll-ups versus a ZK roll-up. So some of them might prefer a ZK roll-up, especially because there is a 1 week expensive withdrawal wait period. Then today the tokens do not exist. Right now there is no Arbitrum token today. Right? We are hoping that there is an airdrop, and that's what we'll talk about in the next 30 seconds. So today, if you have to get exposure to Arbitrum, then you have to get it through an indirect means. So that is a con as for an investor. And then there's a competitor in Optimism. Right now, Optimism is catching up fast. They're at 30% market share. We don't know if they will cross them or not. And Optimism has already airdropped their tokens. They're already in the market. We spoke about that in the previous video. So will Optimism receive more interest? Will more projects move to Optimism? Only time will tell. So that's something that you need to be concerned about. The next thing, which is how do you get your airdrop, right? This is something that probably all of us are interested in. Now, how do you get an airdrop? Well, it's very simple. Why would any crypto give an airdrop? Any crypto project wants to give an airdrop to incentivize their early community, right? They want to incentivize developers to come and build. They want to incentivize users to come and use the apps that are built on the ecosystem. It's as simple as that. The projects want to reward their early community. And how do they do that? There are a few ways. Right now, they can incentivize the developers or the users. They can incentivize people who provide liquidity of this token, and they can incentivize people who are supporting the ecosystem. So it is not just Arbitrum, but there are several apps which are using Arbitrum, like Uniswap and 1inch and so on. So anybody supporting the ecosystem could also be somebody who is eligible for an airdrop. So this is typically what happens. Now, if this is the case, then is there any way you can get an airdrop? Well, that's what we'll talk about. There was an airdrop of a certain NFT called the Arbitrum Odyssey NFT, which happened back in June. So this first airdrop is already over. Right? These NFTs are given out for people who completed a certain set of tasks. This is an NFT airdrop, by the way, not the Arbitrum token airdrop. But the idea is that if you were to own one of these NFTs, then you stand a chance to get the Arbitrum airdrop, because this is one way they're identifying who is actually using the Arbitrum space. So if you want to buy the Arbitrum NFT that has already been airdropped, then you can go down to Stratos NFT.io. I'll link this in the description. You can check that out and buy this. It is like $3-4 probably for each NFT. If you don't want to buy it, and if you are looking to wait for the next NFT, then there are 2 more NFT drops that are supposed to happen, and holding these NFTs gives you a chance to probably get the Arbitrum airdrop. Right now, all this is speculation, but this is one way we are thinking that you might actually get the Arbitrum airdrop. What is the first one? Well, there's something called the Blueberry Nebula. It was paused, and it might reopen very soon. They have a certain eligibility criteria. What is that eligibility criteria? Well, if you open the eligibility criteria, I'm just waiting for it to open up. It's very simple. Most of these will tell you to make a transaction, provide, do a trade, etc., etc. It's as simple as that. Now let's look at the other one. This is the other NFT airdrop, which is called the Arrival of the Penumbra. So if you go to the eligibility criteria, it says you need to provide liquidity about $50, or you need to lend about $50, or you need to borrow about $100 worth of assets. As simple as that, right? That's all you need to do. Well, this one has loaded. In this one, it says you need to make a leverage trade on gmx.io. You need to be a liquidity provider or do a SWOT swap, right? As simple as that. You need to finish either of these tasks so that you are eligible to get this NFT, and in turn, you are eligible to get the Arbitrum airdrop itself. What else is possible? There is one more way, which is that you can go down to guild.xyz and go to the Arbitrum projects. Arbitrum has several apps on several D apps, right, which are using it. Here you can get a role, and you have to do very simple tasks, right? And the simple task is something like hold at least 0.001 magic token, or hold at least 0.001 of the Chainlink token. As simple as that. Very simple roles. Most of it involving you owning a very small a part of a token. And this will make you eligible to get a role, and if you have this role, it is possible that you might be considered eligible to get an Arbitrum airdrop much later. Right now, these are the few ways that I found where through which you can be prepared when the Arbitrum airdrop comes. You are prepared to actually get the airdrop. Usually, what happens is when an airdrop is announced, they tell you that you should have done all this before a particular date, right? Let's say before the day the airdrop was announced. So that's very important. If you have Chainlink or if you have any of these, then you can go down here and get your role, because that will make you eligible for getting the airdrop, or that might make you eligible rather. Disclaimer, these are all speculations. These are indications that if you do some of these, it is possible that you might get an airdrop. So are you prepared to get the airdrop? Well, most of us have tokens like Chainlink. Some of these are very popular tokens which are in the Arbitrum ecosystem, so you'll definitely have it if go out and try to finish as many of these as possible. All of that is linked in the description. Finish as many of them as possible and you might be eligible for the Arbitrum airdrop if and when it happens, and if all this is included as part of their criteria. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it, and welcome to the Wave Crypto Club.